Yes, y'all. Welcome to Office Hours. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. A special Wednesday edition of Office Hours because I was set to be on a ski trip this this weekend. I actually canceled that ski trip, but we kept our Wednesday date. So here we are. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. And we will officially get started here in just 1 second. And you guys know how office hours work, or most of you do anyway, I would suspect, which is there is no agenda other than me just being here to do my best, trying to answer any questions or help you in any way. So you can type in questions into the comments, and I'll take them generally in order there. And also, in a moment here, I will put in a link if you want to join me on camera. So if you have anything to ask me that is more involved, more context, more complicated, things like that, we can have a little discussion about it as long as you're willing to come on board here and be seen. So we will get rolling here in just one moment. I'm just going to hit do not disturb on my rest of my notifications here, so we're not getting bothered by those. And we'll get going. Hope everybody's having a good week. And let's go ahead and get started. Hey, Anders here. Awesome. Cool. We'll put a link here in 1 second. John, awesome. Good. Grant, welcome. Brandon, welcome from cold Canada. Awesome. Okay, John, let me walk you through those Facebook campaigns here in just 1 second. I'm also going to put the invite link in here for folks who want to join. And let me just go ahead and address the Facebook campaign questions here while we're starting, though. John says, interested in a Facebook campaign for a local area. My county has 800,000 people. Do you send a stream of Facebook ads to the same people? Do you take posts and make them into ads? And it seems local does need as much ad spend. You have indicated 10 to 30 bucks. It's okay for local market, or is national market needs more ad spend? Yeah, okay. So John, a few questions here, which is kind of like, give me a local Facebook ad strategy. So let me share with you a couple of thoughts. So first of all, yes, advertising in local will require much less budget. There you are, John. You can come on here and join me. How are you, sir?
Good.
Good. So I was just saying, so yes, Facebook advertising locally is going to require much less budget than nationally.
I'm hearing the replay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Actually, I'm hearing the relay. How do I turn that off?
Oh, you right now you have two windows open then for the call. So you just need to close out one of the windows there.
Okay, I'll close out this one. Okay, that's better now.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Good to see you.
Yes, thank you.
So yes, local advertising budget can typically be quite small just because it's a smaller area, so less people, and two, well, because of that, a higher likelihood that you're going to start showing the same ad to the same person multiple times, and obviously, you get ad fatigue pretty quickly if you do that. So, depending on the goals of your campaign and who you're targeting, that budget, can vary. But let me just outline to you a couple of strategies that I use in my Facebook ad campaigns locally that are pretty reliable for me, and they're a good starting point, I think, for anyone. Okay.
Okay.
So first of all is thinking about how to target your audience locally. So depending on who your audience is, there may not be very many of them, and that can put a real limit on the effectiveness of Facebook advertising in general in a local market, right? So if you said, I live in San Diego and I only want to target cosmetic surgeons, well, it's Southern California, so there's probably a decent amount of cosmetic surgeons, but there's still not that many cosmetic surgeons. And so there's probably a more efficient, targeted, and cost-effective way for me to reach them than Facebook ads. And so that's something to just consider. If you're targeting a broader audience, though, say like with my media site, I'm targeting, pretty broadly people in San Diego. So in that case, what I'll do is I will just do completely open targeting. So I won't choose sex. I won't choose age range. I won't say people interested in these things. I will just say target San Diego. And because of the content that we're doing, I'll usually put 21 plus or 25 plus or something like that because we're just at least skewing. We're not going after teenagers and things like that. So I will just put that in, and then I will just run my ads openly and let Facebook find the audience rather than me trying to pick and choose. Okay, here's exactly the audience. I just let the Facebook algorithm find my people based on who's responding to the ad. So if you put an ad out there and Facebook sees these are the type of people that are responding, Facebook is at this point doing a pretty darn good job of saying, okay, well, then let's show this to more of those types of people. So it's become much, much, much easier to do targeting on Facebook, in my opinion. And certainly locally, there's very, very little targeting that you have to worry about. It should just be like very obvious. Like, is my ad only for women? Okay, then I'll turn it on only for women. Is it only for men? Okay. Is it only for people 21 and up or 50 and up or whatever? Okay. If it's like really, really obvious that the product or service that you're offering is only for those specific ranges, then okay. Otherwise, I just leave it open. And then the key is that you make sure that the ad is going to speak to the right person that you're trying to target. So if it's about a particular topic or it's about a particular offer, that you just want to make sure that that's very clear in the ad so that when somebody clicks on it, they know, yeah, this is something I'm interested in, right?
Yeah, it's go high level, but there's so many things about go high level. Obviously, you got to pick one. I can't just. There's too much
So,
go high level, right?
so you're targeting small businesses that you want to sell your marketing services to.
Yeah, pretty much like the Chamber of Commerce type of people.
Mm-hmm.
The county Chamber of Commerce has like 500 people. I'm going to be separately emailing those people as well.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'll hit some of the same people with a Facebook ad is what I was thinking.
Yeah, and you'll hit many more. I mean, there's a lot of business people and entrepreneurs and business owners in that 800,000 people that aren't in the chamber, right? So
Right.
so your ads should, if you're just broadly going after business owners, your ad should just call out, hey, San Diego County small business owners, like
Yeah.
just like start the ad with that clear of a headline so that it is directly speaking to those people. So that way you have a chance of kind of pulling those people out of the crowd and getting their response. And then also people who aren't business owners probably aren't going to click on the ad. It's not anything that's that pertains to them or is of interest to them. So you can, of course, in Facebook. And so this is, I always say the number one rule of advertising is just test everything. So everything that I'm saying right now, you should take it with a grain of salt and test it. So in Facebook, of course, you could target business owners. You could target people who have interests in things like Inc. magazine or something like that, so that you could say, okay, these are like my people, and try and target that way. You're going to pay a premium for choosing that targeting. Anytime you choose targeting like that, Facebook charges the extra. It says, okay, you're gonna hone in on this audience. You're going to use some of our data. Maybe it's third-party data that we're having provided by somebody else. There's almost always going to be an increase in cost to you, but it could be better for you, so you can split test two campaigns and run the ads, one open like I described, and one targeting a more specific audience and see which works best for you. But that's generally the approach. And then you asked about, do you just take like a Facebook post and turn it into an ad? I do that all the time. So I like to lead my advertising with just content. I'm not doing like a real hardcore direct response ad. People see those, the funnels, and people's news feeds are filled with those. I like to just put out a good, valuable piece of content. And so I'll put that as a post on my Facebook page. So I'll write something on my blog, whatever, put it on my Facebook page as a post, and then I'll just promote that post so that people are engaging with my content. It's a little bit of a slower approach, but it's an approach that I really like because I feel like it creates a more real relationship with my audience. I'm adding value in my content. If they're getting value from my content, they tend to stick around. They tend to opt in on my website. They tend to do all those things that we want them to do as a next step. So in selling like your services, I highly recommend that you follow that approach, at least for, let's say, 50% of your advertising budget, maybe even more than that. I call that my prime the pump strategy. I have that outlined in the training that I know you have access to. And that's just put out, 5, 10 pieces of good content and just give them some budget and just promote them so that people are getting value from you. They're learning from you. They're seeing you as a thought leader in the market, and then they're being pulled into your world. So that's it to me in the local market. That's probably 75% of the job right there.
Would each post be a separate campaign, or you could put 5 different posts on a rotation, or I
You
guess
can
you're
put
saying,
five. You can put them all in the same campaign. You could put them in separate campaigns so that you have more control over
turning them off and on, turning them off and
yeah,
on.
yeah. And if you want to try any objectives or anything like that, I mean, technically you can turn them on and off easily, and you can control budget, easily at the ad set level. So the Facebook will tell you, and this is a common thing that they tell you now, is about audience overlap. So if you have 2 campaigns that are targeting the same audience, then Facebook sees those as 2 competitive ads instead of seeing them as both from you and they're kind of complementary. This is one advertiser. These are all his campaigns. Like, we should kind of treat him as friendly out there in the universe. It sees them as 2 competitive campaigns. So when it's sorting out who to give traffic and how much traffic to give and at what costs and stuff, you're actually kind of competing against yourself with your own campaigns. Whether or not that's okay, whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm mixed. I'm mixed on my feelings about that. Facebook is going to tell you it's a bad thing, and they suggest that you put it all into one campaign. Like I said, I'm mixed as to whether or not I've seen any true benefit or not from taking one approach over the other. I don't think it's going to make or break the success of your campaigns either way.
Okay, great. That sounds
Cool.
like some time for testing.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's time for testing, and that is the number one rule of advertising. Get in there and do some tests.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Okay.
Brandon, how are you,
Hey,
sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How can I help you?
Excellent. Yeah. So quickly, I'm on the $97 a month plan to just best learn HighLevel as much as I can. This is a bit of a rookie question, but I'd love to get my first users up and going on the platform, and I need to get going on that.
Yeah.
And ideally, I'd really like to white label right off the bat before getting users on board. So my question is kind of threefold, because I would be doing this as a 30-day trial as part of my offer. So first, do I simply just get them on there with the HighLevel branding, showing it first?
I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, I would do it. I wouldn't lose 1 minute of sleep over it. I know people get very freaked out about it. Like, you hear people in the community like so worried about it. I wouldn't worry about it at all.
Yeah, and I've done a bit of product market testing, like to see if this would fit the industry that I'm in. And a question that's coming up is like, did you build this yourself? So of course I'm not saying, no, it's called Go HighLevel. I said, no, I'm not building it myself, and then kind of just go into something. But
but your answer should be, here's your answer. And you should say it very, very confidently is no, I did not build it myself. I'm using a platform that's designed for service providers like myself. And the reason why that's important for you, Mr. Customer, is that this platform that I'm using has tens of thousands of businesses on it. They have a huge development team. They have all the resources that they need to continue to improve it and support it. And that's why I choose to put my customers on there.
Great. Yeah. Okay. And then, that's good. The last part of my question would be, if I'm offering a 30-day trial like this, presumably, I would onboard them as if they were somebody who was interested in taking full advantage of like committing to something like this long term.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I would have to set up the text call stuff in the back end for them, even if they decide after 30 days, hey, this isn't for us right now, but just so they can get the full utilization of the platform.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, I mean, if obviously if you're using any services where they need the number, then the answer is yes. I mean, you could theoretically, let's say, put up a website for them and not put a call tracking number on it, and not, not make that a part of the features of that 30-day trial to keep it easier if you want. But yeah, that's in this space, I only ever recommend that people do trials if you have the conversation with them in advance of, hey, we are doing a trial and we're very confident in our services and that you're going to see great value out of them. But it only makes sense for our business to do something like this if it's with the expectation that you plan on being a long-term customer, because that's how our business works. We're going to put in a bunch of work up front here to get all this set up for you. It doesn't make any sense if you just kind of dipping your toe in the water and then just let them respond to that.
Okay.
And oh yeah, no, absolutely. This is something, this is something we need to do. And yeah, as long as it does what you say it's going to do, we plan on using it for years. Great. Then go for it.
Yeah. And just to tail off that onboarding question, I know HighLevel's constantly like updating things. Just to save time, it would probably be best not to take some time to really make an in-depth onboarding video and do it sort of like this face-to-face. Just I onboard somebody a month from now and something's really changed and say, hey, this video is a little out of date, rather than sending them to a link with a video. Do it person to person like this over a call.
I would absolutely do it person to person for the first, probably for your first 25 customers anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I would never do like a big in-depth onboarding video. And I know maybe you didn't really mean it that way, but I would definitely break it up into chunks. So here's kind of step one overview of the platform. Here's the 5 most important features. Here's a detailed look at feature number 1, a detailed look at feature number 2, like separate videos, because you're right. Things are going to change so fast that, if you record one long thing and stick it in there, you're going to be re-recording your one long thing and getting very frustrated.
I kind of had that brewing in the background. Okay. Those were the main things I had to ask for today. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Good luck.
Mike. Okay.
Let's see here. Grant, how are you, sir?
Hey, what's up? Good to see you.
Good to see you again. Welcome back.
So thank you. So we figured out our package. We got started, had our first 2 sales calls, made 2 sales.
Booyah.
Ready to go.
Awesome. Good for you.
So actually, to piggyback on the theme of what that guy was talking about, which is onboarding. All right. So I got 2 customers. I got some more sales calls coming up, and it's like, all right, we're kind of building the plane as it flies.
Yep.
Do you have your go-to process for, all right, here's my welcome email, here's my onboarding process, so it's efficient and it's effective, but efficient so that it can scale? What would be the way to design that onboarding process?
Yeah. Yep. So a handful of things. One, as you already know, just obviously just taking advantage of the automation and stuff everywhere you can in the system for follow-up communication and all that good stuff. But 2, just always thinking one-to-many. And so, putting together a membership area for your customers. So in that membership area, they've got the welcome video, they've got about this program, they've got next steps that you can expect. Here's how you get support. Here's, all of that like outlined in the membership area so that they can get in there and get access to that at any time. So they can kind of self-serve. I recommend that everybody has like a weekly office hours call, just like this, where it's just, hey, any of our customers can come and join in the call and ask questions. We'll help you out. Having a help desk system that you always say, hey, any of these types of issues, you always open a ticket by emailing, help at, your domain. So just giving, structure to all of the things that are tending to cause disruption in how smoothly this process goes, right? Just trying to make as much of that just kind of set up in advance and one-to-many. And then for the onboarding specifically, what I recommend is a handful of things, and just kind of spitballing a little bit just because I'm not looking at the onboarding structure. But one is that you give them a structure. So walk them through, here's what you can expect. Here's key milestones, timelines, And what we need from you, and that's critical in this, what we need from you to do to make sure that we can stay on track with these milestones. You know, we need this information from you. We need to have this call scheduled with you, those types of things. So one, just giving them that roadmap so that they can see, okay, this is what we're getting into here. And then two, pre-scheduling anything that you can on that roadmap in advance if possible. So just saying, hey, look, we're going to do our first call on this date, second call on this date, third call on this date. Does that sound good? Let's put it in the calendar. It works for everybody. Great. And then information collection from the customer up front. So have an organized process for that. Use like surveys and HighLevel and stuff to collect everything that you need. And then try and do as much of whatever setup you can do with that information before they're ever really involved. So behind the scenes, try and take that information, do as much as you can to have everything ready to go. So that way, by the time you get them involved, they're seeing, oh, okay, look, this thing is just about ready. And now it's more about, okay, how do we get you in there and get you activated and using the system rather than, building the system. Those are majors. And then we talked about this. I can't remember if this was the last call and you were on it or if this was a prior call, but we talked about just that importance of having that coaching relationship with them. And really kind of driving that home, saying, hey, look, there's going to be some new behaviors maybe for you, maybe some new, deadlines and things like that you got to get used to. And if you don't mind, we're going to, hold you accountable just like you want to be to make sure we get all these things done as a team. So that way you have the ability to really kind of push as you need to in that process. Those are the real big things. I think I can't stress enough how important it is, especially right now in HighLevel where things are, the usability, can still be a bit challenging in certain areas, confusing in certain areas. Like take whatever snapshot you've created, whatever resources you've created, and the information from the customer and try and just build as much as you can before you then actually get to the point of, okay, now we're getting you really involved, Mr. Customer. Because you can just get so much done behind the scenes. You can troubleshoot whatever you need to troubleshoot and, and all that good stuff without them being involved. It just makes it for a smoother, easier process for everybody.
You talked about the membership area. So like one of the things we used to have, because we had HubSpot with like a help center, and that help center, you would like just type in some words and articles and videos would show up.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the membership area at Go HighLevel does that. And I've seen some like plugins or other people talk about, other systems you can pull in to have a really great help center.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation for that?
Yeah. So Extendly is one company, EXT Extendly. And then HL Pro Tools is the other one. They both have some kind of add-on resources that you can like plug into the HighLevel, the interface that the customer is going to be seeing. So you can definitely take advantage of those. I think what's most important, as I was saying before, is that for those first 25, whatever it is, customers, that you're just really hands-on with the process, doing the unscalable stuff to find out where people are actually getting stuck and what's going to be helpful to them. Because a lot of those resources, they're by necessity, they're generic, right? They're not tailored for your specific customers. They're just for anybody using the system. So some of them are going to be helpful and others are, still going to leave gaps. And so to find out where those gaps are in your particular service delivery and create your own videos or resources around those, I think it's just super important.
Cool. Okay. The second one was, as we talk to them, because there's changes from our old solution to our new solution, and the new solution actually has a little more customization than our previous one. And we're just constantly having that discussion of like, here's what we're not going to let you touch and customize because that might open up a can of worms, and also like you don't really need to, but then here's what we will. Did you have any more, especially with all the website, like there's so much stuff they could be doing with the
Yeah.
website that we build for them, but then we kind of almost want them to not touch it and maybe just come to us for support around it.
Well, so the way that we've always handled those particular areas, and the website is actually the most common one, is that when we're doing the setup of the website, we have a very templated approach, and we say the websites come with these things, these pages, these things integrated, all that type of stuff. And then anything outside of that, we have always said that's a custom request, and it will cost this much per hour for us to do. Or we have a little menu of services for common things. So like if somebody says, I want you to post a new blog post for us. Okay, that's $75, whatever. But it's amazing how people all of a sudden start limiting their requests as soon as there's any request to pay for it. So that cuts a lot of things. And then, yes, for our website service, what we've always done is we've always said, hey, look, think of us as your team, and you can send requests in. So we just allow them to use the ticketing system to send in requests for things that we know are going to be super easy for us to update that might actually cause some problems if they get in there and start messing with themselves, right? Just it feels like a really high touch, luxurious service, and it minimizes problems and support issues. So, would you like a picture? You want the image replaced? Great, just send us the new image, and we'll replace the image for you.
What ticketing system does Go High Level have that?
No.
What do you use for the ticketing?
I use Help Scout, which I like. It's purely email based, so it's just nice and easy. People just send an email and it just opens up the ticket.
Yeah, and that integrates with like.
I'm sure it integrates.
I guess it's your own thing because we just have a Gmail, whatever, so it just links with that. Probably. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then the final one was that we wanted to do this time around was, and I wonder what your thoughts are on an affiliate program. So basically, hey, we used to spend a lot of money on sales and marketing. Like to get new clients back in the day, it would be upwards of 40, 50, 60% of the revenue.
Yeah.
Like at scale when you're doing like hundreds of thousands of clients a year. So it's like, especially with real estate brokerages, like they love this MLM affiliate model. And so can we now do that here where, hey, client, if you get us 5 new clients, you get your thing for free. And then you can actually get a recurring paycheck because we'll just give you X percentage of the monthly recurring revenue for helping us. Because as long as you're with us, right? So if you don't renew and stay with us, then you don't get the paycheck. So you also have to stay and not churn. But then it also encourages the people that you help bring on stay and not churn. Are you a fan of these programs? Is there like a formula that you like to stick to?
I think so. I'm definitely a fan of them. I am a fan of them in certain industries. They just tend to work much better than others because people are very familiar with affiliate marketing already. So anything that's an industry where there's lots of digital marketing activity and stuff over the last 10 years, there's almost always a big community of people that are very familiar with affiliate marketing, right? So like in the solar community, I know right now, like everybody in the solar community has done affiliate marketing at some point or another, affiliate lead generation, all that type of stuff. So in those markets, you can tend to make that type of stuff work better, easier. In the small business marketplace, my experience has been that it's very tough to make those programs work. And I think it's just self-interest. I think it's just, there's a couple of things. Like one, if I'm a real estate broker and I refer another real estate broker, am I just referring a competitor that's now going to have all the same cool stuff that I'm going to have? And then 2, am I going to make enough money from this that I really actually care to spend my time and attention on it? And I have found in almost all cases, the combination of those 2 factors, the answer is just people just don't give it any attention. It's not to say that it can't still work. I just think like you really have to push it, incentivize it, call attention to it like all the time, make it very front and center, or it probably won't get the momentum you're hoping for.
Yeah, no, it's way harder than you think. Like realtors, yeah, that competition thing. But then what that does help is they're a part of these national brokerages where they go to events and then they're like, okay, well, you're not in my area, so like I don't
Right,
mind
right.
if you have this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it does kind of work, and other companies like Send Out Cards has done it. Like other companies have done it, and like heck, real estate brokerages like literally live on this model. Is there a percentage when people do this? Is there like a go-to percentage that's appealing, but you still gonna need to make a profit?
I mean, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You really you just need to understand your cost of sales. So your long-term cost of sales in this business, long term, you want it to be, 15% or something like that. So anything more than that, you typically start running into problems. So, that if you were going to do like a recurring ongoing commission type of thing, that's, you see a lot of programs that are out there that are kind of like the 10 to 15% range. But again, you have to look at your overall cost structure. Since I don't know exactly what your cost of goods, is going to be on everything, you need to think that through. But also, like what I have found in many cases is that if you instead do a one time and make it a bigger one time thing, it gets a lot more attention. People get a lot more excited about it. And you could always just make it an either or. So you could give somebody the option, and then they're kind of best of both worlds. Say, hey, look, we'll pay you 10% for the life of the account, or I'll cut you a check for $5,000 right now. Whichever is best for you, whichever you're most excited about. I want you to be excited about referring us. I'm grateful for it. So you could, have like both of those options and let the person choose. That's probably going to be your best model.
Because it's amazing how Go High Level is 40%. Like they do 40% ongoing for their affiliates.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is amazing. And believe me, I've talked to Sean about this like 100 times. Like, man, does this work for you? And it's, we're
like, if you go under, this is a problem. Like, that's why in my head, like it's like,
no, but if you look at the alternatives for them, okay, typically a software business growing anywhere nearly as fast as they are. I mean, they're growing like a crazy rocket ship, right? In order to do that, they raise hundreds of millions of dollars and pour it into sales and marketing, almost entirely into sales and marketing. If you look at any of the big SaaS companies that have grown like crazy, they'll have a cost of sales for the first handful of years that's well over 100%. Well over 100%. Some of them were multiple hundreds of percents. Like Salesforce in the early days, just crazy cost of sales, and they ran at crazy cost of sales. So we're talking 80% cost of sales, 90% cost of sales, like 10 years into it. And it's because they were just buying market share and they knew that they had access to capital, but they gave up obviously huge amounts of equity, to make that work. So what the high level guys are doing is, it's 40%. 40% is a lot less than 80%, 90%, 120%. And we're not having to raise the money and give up all the equity to do it. So they also know, and they've been able to validate by now with their numbers that with all the affiliates out there pushing and all those affiliates getting their 40% lifetime, there's also then 100 other people that hear about the program and end up signing up that didn't come through an affiliate. And so they get 100% of the revenue from those. So whatever that blend is for them, I don't know. I'm not privy to those numbers, but it's working.
Yep. Right on. One final one is what are your favorite, like one thing that we want to do differently? Because fortunately this business has a lot of people in the business, right? Like jumping on stuff like this, talking to people who are in the business, like is super helpful. What are some of your favorite events or masterminds to get around people who are been there, done that, super successful, building Go High Level based businesses that we should look into?
High Level's annual event for sure. High Level's annual event is awesome. I mean, it's absolutely without question one of the top events I've been to, like in the whole just marketing space period. But the entire community is our people, right? And solving these problems and having good conversations about what's working and stuff like that. Huge energy. Lots of people having a really nice success at this point. So you go there and you're like, oh, wow, there's 300 people that just walked across the stage that are all doing, $1 million or more in recurring revenue. It's inspiring. So that by far and away is number one. Honestly, after that, I would have a hard time telling you because I've been so disappointed in events over the last 5 years that I've pretty much stopped going to them. I mean, I used to be like, I was at the first 8 trafficking conversions, and now, just doesn't do anything for me. So
Yeah.
I would have a hard time telling the others, honestly.
So and when I've done all the Tony Robbins stuff before, which I thought was actually really cool, but then it's
Tony Robbins is awesome. Yeah.
It's general, and so now it's I want to find some stuff that's specific to what we're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna go to it. And the ticket, is there, because that was something with some events, I was like, is the VIP really worth it, or is it totally fine to just get this ticket, or what's your perspective on?
I think everybody gets treated very first class at their event. They spare no expense. It's really, really well done. So everybody gets treated really well. The VIP this year, I think, because they've been experimenting with the structure a little bit, but I think the VIP this year gives you an extra day, and it's all the meals and all the parties and all that type of stuff. They do. Most events you go to and it's the meals, and you go and have the meals and you're like, oh, I should have gone, down the street to whatever and gotten some real food. They go all out on everything. Everything is first class. So yeah, I mean, is it worth it or not? Hard to, obviously that's your individual thing to take a look at. But what I will say is that I think that anything that you invest in with them, you can expect that it's going to be well done. So if you're looking at that extra day, and that extra day is time with the founders, and stuff like that, you can expect that you're going to get time with them. They're going to be super open with you. They're going to be super generous with you. It's going to be, if you invest in it with them, they're going to do their damnedest to deliver. So
cool. Awesome, man. Well, appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'll come back with some more success stories.
Yes. Right. I love it. Do it. Go out there and make some sales.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's see here. You guys in the background, Anders, I'll be with you in 1 second. I just want to answer some of the questions here on the chat. I want to make sure I don't completely neglect everybody over here too. So let's see here. Started to make my first sales today. What's your favorite way to welcome on board? Cool. So I just kind of covered that. You want to have a good structured, process for that for sure. Jason, Facebook ad, free website offer. If going after our local area and not niche specific, will that complicate the random niche websites we're building? Yes. Yes, Jason, it will. The great thing is, though, here's how you got to think about this, okay? Because this is it's not that challenging. It's not, okay? Every damn small business website has a certain number of pages that they need, right? They need a home page. They need a contact page. They need an about us page. They need here's what our service or products page is, right? And then in some industries, maybe they'll have another couple of pages, in some industries, not, if it's a restaurant, they'll have a menu page. If it's if it's a law firm, they're going to have, our team page with all of our lawyers' profiles on there, something like that, right? The reality is, every small business essentially comes down to these common set of assets that are going to go on a website. And then it's really just a matter of design structure, colors, logos, things like that. And then getting the actual information from the customer to fill in those blanks. And so if you think about it that way, you could go to any small business and say, hey, look, Mr. Small Business Owner, our websites include these core pages that every small business should have, and it includes these core marketing capabilities that every website should have. So, here's our laundry list of all the stuff that you're going to get, and then go generally. The most successful small business website designs come down to these 3 structures, right? And so literally just structures without any specific pictures on them, you could show them, there's the the header image here, and then there's the headline here, and we've got your phone number up here and your logo up here, and then we've got this here, and then the navigation up top. And then on that next page, it generally looks like this. And so you're just giving them the ability to go, yeah, I think that looks nice. I think that looks nice, and choose between these structures. And then you say, great, awesome. We're going to build with these structures. And then we just need to collect, this information from you. We need a copy of your logo. We need, any content that you have, images, things like that, that that you want to go on the site, that you already have. Your color schemes, your font schemes, things like that, if you already have those selected. And then the reality is 90% of small businesses probably will barely have any of that. And so you're just going to their existing website and just kind of saying, okay, it looks like, here's the way you do things. So we've done it similarly, but, using this nice design approach and stuff. If you take just kind of that process, it applies to any small business. And then the great thing is, in HighLevel, you've got templates for just about every industry to start with, right? I'm not saying that they're the end all be all templates. I'm not saying that they're exhaustive for what you may want for your industry, but you've got some good starting points that you could at least then take what I just told you and just go, okay, let's just pick a few of these and present the customer with these options as a starting point, whether it's a chiropractor or a plumber or, whatever, right? So that's the process. So yes, does it complicate it when you're working from one different business to the next? Yes, it does. Is it anything that should really kill your momentum or anything like that? No. Like if you just think through that process, just like I gave you, kind of experiment with it a little bit, take it step by step, you'll be all good. Okay. Min says, I need some support for setting up my account. I checked the setup service for Go HighLevel had just increased from 300 to 1,000. Are there better options? Is that true? I feel like hold on one second. I feel like that may be a mistake. And so just give me one moment because I think that they had 2 different services that are priced differently. So I just want to make sure that you're getting good information before you sorry, I'm just looking for the URL for their GoHighLevel.com. What is it? Service? Is it packages or service packages or service plans? Or I don't know if anybody knows the URL of that, but I'm just randomly typing in URLs here to see if I can track it down. I couldn't track it down, unfortunately, but because I thought that they had both options. I thought that they had the lower ticket service still like $297, and then they have this much more hands-on option that's like $1,000. So just make sure you're looking at that. If you can't find with Go HighLevel what you're looking for, I would suggest Extendly. Extendly has a setup package that you can buy from them. That's not. I think it's like similar. It's like $250 or something like that. And then I would honestly just post like in the HighLevel community and just say, hey, we're looking for somebody to help us with a setup process, and see if there's anybody there that could help you, because there's all kinds of HighLevel, consultants and service providers in there at this point. Okay. Let's see here. Darren said, should we always price the surge at 3 to 5K, or does it make sense to have a 190-ish setup fee? So Darren, it really depends on what you're selling. If you're selling the complete system, then I love that 2,500 to 5,000, price range as a surge fee, because you're going to be doing a lot for them. And so there's perceived value there, right? When you're charging upfront at 2,000, 5,000, whatever, it signifies, okay, we're getting some real value here. They're doing a lot for us. Also, that's a number that, will pretty much cover your cost of acquiring that customer. So it's a really, really, really big advantage to you if you're selling that surge. I mean, selling that complete system to sell that surge at those higher price points. But if you're selling like a much smaller ticket offer, then, or less complicated offer. I mean, so as an example, if you're selling somebody a website and hosting and stuff like that, then we're not going to do a $3,000 to $5,000 setup fee. I mean, you could. People charge that much for websites all the time, but I'm saying if you're doing it as like a foot in the door offer where you're trying to accelerate acquiring customers, you don't want to slow down the process of acquiring that customer, and having a larger upfront cost is going to do that, right? So in that case, we'll do it at a very low price or even free to get them started, and they're just then paying for the hosting and support of the website after that, right? So if you look at, I always like to use Restaurant Engine as an example. Let me just pull up their site real quick. If you look at Restaurant Engine here, so what I teach people is to do the free website. So it's literally free to set up the website, and then it's just pay for the hosting at $97 a month after that. But you can see right here, what they do is the $499 one-time setup. So they're doing a much smaller, setup fee than a typical website. So it still seems like a really awesome value, but they are getting some upfront cash. When you're selling the complete system, Darren, your sales cycle is going to be slower anyway. It's going to be slow, and so getting that, pricing it with the $3,000 to $5,000 up front, you're not really slowing it down any longer than. I mean, it's already going to be slow just by the nature of the complexity of selling the complete system, getting your customer to understand what that is and get bought into it. So having the $3,000 to $5,000 on the front is great, because, like I said, it's not really going to slow things down any further. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for you. I'm not sure, man. You'd have to ask UPEX that. I'm not sure on that one. Dan says, looking to hire a San Diego agency in your group to handle my hair restoration services account. That's awesome, Dan. Yeah, please publish it. Put a post inside of Circle and stuff like that as well. That would be fantastic. How can I find the successful case studies which has success with Go High Level to Model? I cannot find any real life case studies to learn. And just go look at the awards winners. So look at Go High Level's awards winners. They publish the awards winners from this last year's event. Hundreds of Go High Level agencies and SaaS partners and all that type of stuff that they publish the names of the businesses. So just go, you can go poke around and look at all those different businesses. That's probably your best bet. How do I set up an affiliate program where we pay a prior client for a referral after they pay? Payment is outside of Go High Level. Danny, you could use any number of affiliate tracking systems. So like First Promoter is what High Level uses right now, but there's all kinds of affiliate tracking platforms. So I would just poke around and look at, try and find one that has some of the specific nuances you want in how you can pay your partners, right? So as an example, some of these affiliate programs allow you to have multiple tiers of payment. Some of them allow you to like split the payment between two different, partners, things like that. Just kind of like go through the software platforms and look at, what feature with what you need. But there's all kinds of affiliate tracking platforms out there. So I think that when you say payment is outside of Go High Level and it's for a referral after they pay, in that case, in most like professional services kind of referral situations, there's not necessarily like tracking links and things like that. So it's really just that you're recognizing when you're doing this deal, oh yeah, this deal came from this person. And so you want to make sure that you track who that person is right away associated with that account, so you don't lose track of it. Because the worst thing in the world is if somebody feels like they refer you business and then that recognition gets lost and they never get paid for it. Then they're just like, okay, I'm never going to do that again. Right. So, if it's more of this kind of professional services environment where there's not like link tracking, you want to make sure that in your database, you have a field that's like referred by, and you put their name in there right away. And then when you sign that deal, as a process, okay, let's look at the referred by. Did we get referred this by anybody? Okay. Yeah, we did. Great. Let's make sure and get in touch with them and cut that guy a check. Right. So it may just be a more manual process like that in that scenario. Okay. Jason, yes, absolutely. I love the event. Awesome. That's great. I love it. I had a great time there too. Okay. Let's go to Anders. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
Good.
How's it going?
Good. How can I help you?
Well, I had asked in the moguls group if anybody was willing to reach out to be a coach, because the thing is, and then you said get on the call, maybe you can clarify some things. I appreciate that. Thank you. The big thing for me is
I didn't realize it was you at the time.
Oh yeah, it's me. Boy, I'm full of problems. Yeah. The thing is, I just after our last call, I went back and I reviewed the R4 system, and it's really got a lot of great information, but it's just like, I need to know, because I'm this kind of person. I think I just must be like the kind of person who gets hung up on details. Like, I need some hand holding. I need to know like exactly what I need to do. And I just feel like I need to kind of walk through it with somebody. So I actually talked to a guy. I found some guy who was willing to, I actually hired him as a coach in the Facebook group, the GHL Facebook group. And he's pretty good. He's actually fairly small. He only has about 25 or so clients. He works in home services, and he kind of just ran me through like what he offers. He talks about like a good, what he charges and all this stuff. And so I kind of wanted to run that by you if you're cool with that. And then ask a couple questions, because I'm in the process of setting this up now. And to give you an example of kind of like what happens to me when I start setting things up is I hit roadblocks, and I'm like, what do I do about this? So for example, today I'm going through this snapshot that Extendly provides for A2P verification. Yep. They give you an agency snapshot and a client snapshot, which is really cool. But in doing so, it seems like I need to set up an EIN, a business entity or whatever. So do I need to do that? Do I need to set up an LLC? Do I need to keep a separate account for my business funds?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes to all of those things. Okay.
Yeah, you should be an actual business and have a EIN. Yeah, and that's just you just fill out a form online with the government. They issue you a number. It's just a tax number. It's just like having a social security number as a person or whatever. So it's just a way for them
the EIN. It costs like $250, right? So like, I just want to make sure that I definitely need that. The LLC is additional to that, or?
Well, an LLC is is the actual legal structure for the company that you're setting up. So you could be an LLC, an S Corp, C Corp, a variety of different things. So you should absolutely be one of those as soon as possible. Which one you decide to be is based on factors that are outside of my, influence or ability to recommend here necessarily. But you should get that set up, because that gives you liability protection and tax benefits and things like that.
Right.
And there's all kinds of just online services to set those up now that are super, super affordable. But can that, still cost you a few $100, that type of thing? Yes, for sure. Technically, you could probably find all the paperwork to set up your company and just do it yourself and not hire anybody to help you. It's probably not that difficult. You still will have to pay some sort of state fee typically to actually set up the business. Some states it's only $50. Some states it's, a few $100, whatever. So there's going to be some costs associated with that. To do that, I mean, the only reason you have to do that like day one is really just because of the requirements that you're asked for. Like, hey, I'm trying to get a number and I need to put an EIN for your, for stuff like that. They just want to know that you're a real entity. You're not somebody that's just spamming stuff like that. So they're just going to require it.
It's funny. I set up an 800 number through Go High Level and it didn't it didn't ask for that. So maybe it's different when you have an 800 number. I didn't go through apparently I didn't go through the whole A2P verification process, or it's like a different process in any case.
For an 800 number, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, to tell you the truth. I haven't set up an 800 number through them. So
yeah, I think I just set up my Google business profile, and I think that's all I had to do. And that was like a weird process. So, okay, so I need to set up an EIN and an LLC. I'm sorry if that was in your training. I just missed it.
No. And in fact, I tell people, hey, look, don't get hung up on doing those things day one until you like need to, because I know people get hung up on those things and they can be intimidating and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But I mean, literally, you could just open up your browser, go to like incorporate.com and fill out some forms, and 15 minutes from now, have an LLC. I mean, like it's really not that difficult. It does cost a little bit of money. So, but the reason why I say don't let it bog you down or slow you down is because usually, if you set that up 3 months into it, the likelihood that you're going to run into some big liability issue here over the next 60 days is not, it's typically not that big of a concern. And so it's usually fine. But as soon as you're dealing with a technical system that's requiring you to have, an actual company set up and tax ID for that, then all of a sudden you're kind of forced into do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I'm at that point. So, all right. So we're doing that. I'm going to have to invest a little bit more money, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So the offer that he was kind of talking about, which is obviously in your structure, but it's kind of simplified in the sense that I just now have a few things that I'm going to focus on for now. Is reviews. He leads with reviews. So the guy, he gets most of he doesn't run ads yet, he says, and he gets most of his business through cold calling. He used to work in solar, so he has some connections already in the home services space, like roofers. But he says he gets most of his business through cold calling, and he just goes national with it. And he does it by just looking up a business on Google, checks out their reviews, and if the reviews are low and the competitors are higher, he'll just screenshot it, call them up, and be like, hey, I don't know exactly what the conversation goes, so that's like another thing I got to figure out. But so he leads with that, and then basically includes missed call, text back, and the calendar plus workflow in addition to that. And that's kind of his whole foot in the door offer. But he leads with the reviews thing. The other thing is included is $297 plus a minimum $500 setup fee. How does that sound to you?
I mean, if he's having success with it, all sounds fine to me. It's like decent price points. That it should be a pretty fast sale. It shouldn't be too difficult to sell them on. Like I said, if he's having success with it, I think awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, so I figured I would just start with that because it's pretty simple. I basically know how to set that up. I mean, there's kind of a lot to learn as far as onboarding and setting up a sub account and making sure that's all good. But yeah, so I mean, I figured I would just add on the ads thing I talked to you about before. That can be an upsell for down the road at some point. I thought even offering a done for you service for now while I have no clients. I feel like that's something I could throw in there. He says he does that, and he says people will sign on to it for a month or two and then be like, hey, yeah, I'm good. We don't need to do that anymore, because he charges $2,000 for the done for you, right? Yeah. So the $297 is the base package. He has zero churn, he says, which is pretty cool. And then in addition to that, he also has a booking bot, which he uses through CloseBot or CloseSpot, whatever that's called. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's people in the group talk about it as being one of the best, but it's actually a $300 white label service that you can buy and implement on your DHL accounts. So I guess that's an upsell. So anyway, those are the 5 things I got. I don't know if you want to add to that or
I mean, those all sound perfectly fine to me. I think in that space, websites are definitely a needed thing in that space. I think having accurate citation information is definitely needed in that space. So those are 2 things that jump out to me as obvious, kind of easy button options.
Sorry, what does that mean? Citation information?
Citation. So for when you establish your business, there's going to be 100 various internet directories and sites and things like that are going to see your business. They're going to reference your business. They're going to put, like, let's just say like a Yellow Pages site. And so they're going to have your business listed in their Yellow Pages site. Just, even if you've never been to that Yellow Pages site at all, they're going to put you in there because they need to make their Yellow Pages site useful for people who come to the site and are looking for businesses, right? So they're going to put you in there, but that information may not be complete, may not be accurate. And so what happens is that businesses end up with all this incomplete and inaccurate information all around the web, and they don't even know it. And Google penalizes them for that. Google says, wait a minute, you've got 30 different phone numbers all over the place and different addresses and all this stuff. And Google will punish your website and your ranking because of that. So inside of HighLevel, you have a service that you can resell that keeps all of that information up to date all over the web. And it's I always forget the name. Gosh darn it. Hold on 1 second. I can go get it, or somebody knows it and can type it in here real quick. But
I've never heard this before. That's really cool.
It costs you like $30 a month, and it's typical to be able to sell it for, $97 a month, that type of thing.
That's not Yext, is it?
Yext, yeah. Yep.
It's Yext. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Cool. I didn't know that. I thought that was like a reputation management thing. I guess that is reputation management, huh?
It is part of reputation. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. Yeah, thank you. So I could include that in that package, I guess. Yeah,
Yep.
maybe not the website. I don't know about the website thing though.
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, websites are definitely.
I'll figure it out.
Websites are more work. So start with those other things. They're much simpler, and go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know how to set that up. I mean, is that something like I think you said at some point like Yext and the Google Business, like getting reviews or whatever, like it's just something you can just switch on, I think you said, and I don't really know what
both of them are simple, just kind of switch on capabilities inside of HighLevel. Yeah, so you'll get in there and just horse around with them, and I mean they're pretty straightforward. Sean just actually put up a new YouTube video just the other day on updates to the reputation capabilities, or review capture and reputation capabilities. So I would go and watch that video because that'll give you some updates as to what's in there and how it works and stuff like that. And Yext is super simple to turn on, and it just runs automatically for your customers. Like, I mean, you barely have to lift a finger.
Cool. All right. Good stuff. All right, cool. So I guess I'm on the right track here. I mean, I'm like,
those things are all good. Absolutely. Those are all good. The only thing I don't like about your plan at all is just the cold calling, but that's it can absolutely work. It's just it's a pain in the arse, and it's something you have to sit down and make sure you're committed to it. And I would recommend that you get a third-party cold calling tool so that you can be super, super efficient and productive with your cold calling, because otherwise it's a real drag. So in other words, what I'm saying is that there are tools out there like Phone Burner, and I actually just got in touch with a new one that I had never heard of before, but it integrates with HighLevel and apparently has looks like pretty good reviews and stuff. Here, I'll show it to you. It's called Kixie. And I had, like I said, I had never heard of this before until literally, I think it was yesterday. But it is integrated with HighLevel, and these tools. And Anders, I don't know if you've ever heard me give kind of my stump speech about cold calling, because I do it pretty frequently, but we used to be a major outbound cold calling business, and you will triple your effectiveness by using a tool like this, or what we used was a tool called Phone Burner, which is still a leader in the industry, but I don't think that it integrates in any way with HighLevel, not in any way natively. You might be able to Zapier it and make that work for you, but that's this one. You can see here, empowers reps and drives up to 4 times more closed leads, 4 times more calls, 4 times, more everything. That's absolutely true. It's not BS.
What does it what does it do?
Well, so essentially, if you think about if you're cold calling, probably maybe 1 out of every 20 dials will you actually reach, some human being or whatever, right? So just those 20 dials, and let's say every time you dial, you stop, you look up their phone number, you go visit their website. Like this guy is telling you, the coach is telling you to go and find a business with bad reviews and then take a screenshot and then give them a call and send. All that takes time. Honestly, that's the only thing. Like when I hear all that, I'm skeptical a little bit about this coach. I will just tell you that I have a little bit of red flags, but I will reserve judgment. But you got to think about every time you do that, you're literally talking you're going to spend 10 minutes doing that. Let's just say best case scenario, you're going to spend 10 minutes doing that before you actually then make a call. Now you're talking about in a day, let's say that you actually plant your butt at your desk for 4 solid hours of cold calling. You've now just dropped the total number of calls that you're making to like 25 calls in a day. Okay. And I'm telling you, if you work for me, Anders, and you made 25 calls a day, you would be fired within the first week. So if you work for me and you were doing cold calling, our minimum was 300 calls a day.
Wow.
300. Yeah. Okay. So because volume matters. And so what this tool does is it literally is dialing multiple numbers in the background. And when it connects, it just automatically throws you on the call. Yeah. So you don't have any of this, we're not doing a bunch of research and lollygagging around the web and all that type of stuff. It's boom, there's Anders on the phone with me. And Anders, hey, this is Mike calling with Super Duper Marketing Services. Hey, look, I was looking at review feedback for your business and other contractors, your competitors there in the area. And, I know how important these reviews are, and I'm sure you do as well. We offer a service where we can help clean up and really protect that reputation to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward out there online when people are searching for contractors like you. Can I take a few minutes and have a conversation with you about that? Right. So you're just jumping into it. You're assuming that they would probably like some help with their reputation. Right. And
but the thing doesn't know like what their reviews are. Like you've not done any of that research. You just assume that they need your services.
Yep.
Basically. Okay, cool. And then is the point of the first call to get on a sales call? Is it like, can we set up a time to actually talk about this?
You can do it right there on that call. If you actually reach a live human being, the expectation is that you are probably not going to get the opportunity to actually do a full pitch right there on that first call. But you should be prepared to, just in case you get the opportunity. But the expectation is that on that first call, did I reach a live breathing human being? Are they, who I thought they were in terms of the industry, the role, all that type of stuff? Are they interested in what I'm saying? If they are, can I talk to them right now? If not, can I schedule a time to talk to them in the future? If not, I'm going to be following up with them like crazy because I've at least identified somebody who, you are a real candidate. And so that system will just automate that process like crazy. And then let's say you reach somebody, don't reach somebody, any of those scenarios, it's going to automatically put notes into HighLevel for you real quick saying, hey, we called this guy on this date, no pickup. Called this guy on this date, left a voicemail. It will automatically leave your voicemails. So you'll pre-record a voicemail message. It'll automatically leave it. It'll automatically send the follow-up email then that says, hey, Anders, I left you a voicemail just a few minutes ago. My name, blah, blah, blah. Like, so it will trigger all of these things to happen automatically so that you're not wasting time doing all the administrative work behind being an outbound salesperson. It'll all happen automatically with huge efficiency. So if you're not going to use one of those tools, I'm just telling you right now that you're setting yourself up for a miserable ride because cold calling is hard. You need every advantage that you can get. You just do. So I would never advise anybody to do it without like having the right process and tools set up.
Okay, cool. Well, that's really good advice. Thank you. And what kind of numbers? Like, what are your conversion rates on that, percentage wise? Or
honestly, I stopped cold calling a long time ago because I think that the world has changed. Home services is actually one of the industries where I think cold calling can really still work. So, if you have success, as in success as in signing a customer as a percentage of people that you actually talk to, right? And I'm saying like within the kind of immediate time frame of getting in touch with them. So I cold call you today, and let's say in the next 30 days, I turn you into a paying customer. If you were having 5% success rate, I would say that that's solid. If you were getting anything significantly higher than that, I would say seems like you're doing pretty darn well. And if you think about it like kind of just direct response numbers, if I run an ad and somebody comes to a sales page cold and I get a 5% conversion rate on that sales page, that's a pretty all-star conversion rate. Kind of the same thing with cold calling. Cold calling is essentially like you're just cold putting an ad in front of somebody, interrupting their day and hoping that it's going to turn into money. If you're getting into that 5% range, I think you're doing really, really well.
Okay, cool. All right, that's good to know. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah,
I feel like I'm the splash of like cold, not comfortable water getting thrown in your face. It's like I'm telling you all the downsides, but
yeah, the thing is, it's kind of hard to take that leap of faith and spend money on ads when I don't have a proven offer. I haven't tested the market at all. I have no idea what I'm getting into, and I'd really like to mitigate the damage as much as possible.
Okay, let me make my argument here because I think that that's a very valid point. Okay, so let me make my argument, and I'm going to make my argument assuming first that you have enough cash to let's just say you have enough cash to support your life for the next 60 days. Okay, so let's just say that that's the case. And you have no proven offer. You are either going to experiment by throwing all your time and energy into cold calling and reaching people, and your time has value. Your time is worth money, right? You still have no unproven offer. So the only way you're going to, you still don't have a proven offer. So the only way you're going to get feedback to prove that offer is by talking to as many people as you possibly can in that period of time. Okay? That's the only way that you're going to have a chance to prove that offer. Cold calling is perhaps the least efficient way to get your message in front of a bunch of people in a short period of time. It is brutally ineffective at doing that because if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, a handful of people are going to pick up the phone every day. Versus if you say, hey, I want to split test these 3 different offers with ads, and you run ads, so you know this. If you say, I want to split test these 3 different offers, these 10 different messages, I can have that campaign up and running and in front of thousands of people today and get clicks on them and see, wow, this message is doing 10 times the results of these other 3 messages. I can get that data within 48 hours just by running those campaigns, probably spending a handful of $100. So now by day 2, I'm going into day 3 armed with some knowledge. If I keep running those ads and improving those ads, somebody's going to get in touch with me. We're going to start having some conversations. So now you're getting the conversations that you would get if you were cold calling, but they're coming from ads. They're coming from people who have already raised their hand and said, I'm interested. I'm not saying that you couldn't also do cold calling during that time as well, because if you run ad campaigns, I run ad campaigns. Ad campaigns are one of the highest forms of leverage in the world for an entrepreneur. I can have these ad campaigns set up in a few hours, and then they take me no additional time for the next few days while I let them collect data. I sit down and review. I probably spend a couple of hours then reviewing and relaunching a new version of those campaigns. You've got a lot of hours left in your day that you could then be cold calling too. So I would just stress that if you have any money to spend, it is the highest ROI thing that you can possibly do is to mix in a thoughtful testing strategy with ads.
Okay.
Just to get leverage on your time and your effort. Okay. I'm all about leverage. That's the thing. So I would just stress if you have any money, that I feel like it is very, 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 very well spent doing testing on ad campaigns. It's the most efficient way to find out, hey, is this message working or is that message? Is this offer or is that offer? Just by far. So I'll throw that out there.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's actually really helpful. I mean, the offer is what it is at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to offer like the full kitchen sink package right now. So, but as far as like,
and really the offer is not that. The offer is get in touch with me and let's have a conversation so I can explain my offer. Right. I mean, you're not going to get these guys to like go to your webpage and go, oh, look at all these fancy things this guy's offering. Sweet. Here's my credit card. Like that's not going to happen anytime soon. Like these are contractors and home services dudes. Like they're going to want to have a conversation with somebody and say, well, what are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you going to do for me? And you're going to explain it to them. They're going to go, all right, yeah. Okay, cool. Like, so the offer is really just, am I putting a message in front of you that makes you respond and be willing to have a conversation with me? That's the offer. And so testing the messages that will lead somebody to click on the ad and agree to a conversation is really what you're testing.
Dude, you're good. I got to say, thank you. You're good. Hey, I don't have really. No, that's super helpful. I'm pretty much sold on that. I do have some money as it turns out, but I'm just like, I'm really stingy. You know, I've been running a business the last 2 years. It hasn't done extremely well. I'm now selling it. So I'm going to make a little bit of cash there. That's cool. Good. And I'm definitely going to put it into this. So like, I do have some capital. Last question, do you think, or do you know of any place I can go to research kind of like what those ads look like, what the messaging might look like for this industry?
Are you an UPEX customer or no?
Not presently. No, I did their trial. I don't recall actually.
So I would go look at a bunch of the major like lead generation businesses in home services and stuff like that, like Angie's List, and I can't even remember what all, but all of those businesses. And then I would go research on Facebook, go look at their Facebook page. Do you know how to go into somebody's Facebook page and pull up and see what ads they're running and stuff like that? So go.
I know how to do that on the library, like on the ads library. You can do that.
So go do that and see what ads those businesses are running, because they're reaching out to the same market as you are. So go and see what ads they're running, what messages they have. And then any of their competitors. I just don't know. I can't remember the name. Like it's like ServiceNow or whatever those companies are that are, working with lots of contractors and stuff like that. Like go and see what ads they're running to try and attract those businesses. Those would be that would be my starting point for sure. And then if there's any competitor that you can find in the industry that's offering these types of services, obviously if you can go and poke around their ads and see what they're doing.
Yeah, cool. All right. That's awesome. I got a lot to work with. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Yeah. Good to see you. Keep me posted.
You too. Well, all right. Yeah, I definitely will. Yeah, thanks.
All right. All right, let's see here. So there's a question. I'm a web developer starting an agency, making great websites. Is a piece of cake for me. That's awesome. Plan on offering a free website with my first interaction. So Sarthak, I hope I'm saying that even close to right. I apologize if I'm butchering your name. But yes, this is one of my core offers that I tell people to start with as a free website. And then you just charge them $97 a month for the hosting and support. So you get that recurring revenue. And then not only is it just for the hosting and support, though, you integrate the call tracking number, you integrate lead forms, you integrate the chat widget, all that stuff, so that now they're also using the HighLevel software platform, so that they're seeing some of the value of that as well. And that way you can more easily upsell them into other services. So yes, I think it's a great opportunity. Yep. Yep. Awesome. Yep. Awesome. Let's see here. Will you make a website or funnel for businesses? Yeah, you could do a website or a funnel. Either is great. So if they already have a website that they're happy with, offer a funnel. If you have like a funnel in that industry. So like one of the foot in the door offers I teach in my program is a birthday campaign funnel, right? So attract, a restaurant or something like that, or salons or anything, attract people on their birthdays. And so you can set up a birthday funnel for them to help attract customers that way. So either one is good, nice and easy. Yeah. Gurus, a lot of internet gurus claiming scaling a new agency from 0 to 10K in a month. What is a realistic timeline to reach 10K, assuming you're doing most of the things right? Yeah, that is generally complete BS. Many of you will not even be done like setting up HighLevel in a month. I mean, just reality from watching thousands of people go through it, right? So you're busy, you've got lives, whatever. So the chances of you reaching 10K in a month are super, super slim. Can it happen? Does it happen? Yes. I just would never promise anybody that should be their expectation. To get to 10K in a month, if you're following like my approach in high leverage agency and you are actively each day doing the sales and marketing activity that you need to do, could you get your first 10K month 90 days into it? Absolutely. Because let's say you sell the surge, like we were talking about, I can't remember who the gentleman asked earlier about the surge, doing a 3K to 5K surge fee. I mean, if you just get a couple of customers there, 2 or 3 customers, you could get 10K just from the surge fees, right? So what I teach people is my model. If you're charging $297, $497, $697 a month, roughly that kind of price plans are like your core offers, and you charge some sort of upfront setup, $2,500, something like that. By the end of 90 days, if you're doing the sales and marketing consistently, you should have your first customer. But most importantly, you probably have your next 3 to 5 customers coming pretty darn soon. Your pipeline's starting to get built up a little bit. So some people by that 90 days are already going to get 3 customers. Some people are just going to get the 1. Some people are going to have like 7 opportunities that they're like, oh my gosh, these are all about to close, right? Everybody's going to vary a little bit differently. But that's a rough time frame and expectation that I think is good. From that point forward, you should be aiming to sign 3 or 4 new customers every month. And that's assuming like it's just kind of you working on the business. Maybe you got some part-time outsourced VA help. This isn't hiring salespeople full-time. This isn't any of that stuff. This is kind of you just doing your thing. If you sign 3 to 4 new customers a month doing that model, by the end of a year, you can be comfortably getting into the 6-figure range in total revenue and looking at a second year where you're like, oh, shoot. And the next year, if I just keep on this path, and I have a little spreadsheet, I can show you guys, but, just keeping on that path, you can be $275,000, $300,000 in year 2. And a good chunk of that is recurring, $25,000 a month in recurring revenue type of thing. Right? That's not at all unheard of. So you changed your life by the end of year 2. I mean, you can be doing really well by the end of year 2 and have really good momentum. By the end of year 1, be doing really well and having really good momentum. So that's how I tell people to look at it. Those surge fees can make all the difference in the world, right? Because if you get $2,500 per customer in that setup and surge up front, right? $2,500 per customer. If you sign 3 customers every month, that's $700 right there. 4, $10,000 right there, right? So it's not that hard to get to those numbers, but to do it in month 1, I think anybody telling you that is really irresponsible, unfortunately. Sean says, however you want to do it, but I'd start small. Don't sell $3,000 a month packages until you can get results. You'll cook your reputation. Yeah, and I would. There's almost no scenario where you're going to be selling $3,000 a month packages, period. I mean, it's just not what most small businesses are going to pay for if you hope to retain them for any period of time, right? You can sell them that and they'll be with you for 3 months and then they're going to cancel, and that's a terrible business. Mario says, I've signed up a client that want to pay $60 a booking versus monthly fees for ads. Is this better, or do you recommend sticking to a set monthly fee? Mario, look, the lead generation business can be a really good business if you're really good, you really know what you're doing, and you really know who you're working with, right? So if you're really good at running ads, you're really good at generating leads, you know your numbers, you know you can generate these leads for, you know, $15 and sell them for 60, and you know the business that you're working with are straight shooters. They can commit, you know, to $10,000 in leads every month, and they're going to pay you month after month after month with no problems and all that. It can be a really nice business. If you're doing this for small businesses, it's almost never that way. It's almost never that way. It's almost always more like, I'm going to be doing this for a few months and then I'm going to fire you because I don't think the leads you're generating are very good and I don't want to have to pay for those. And, you know, this feels like a scam. That, you know, the average lead generation customer in the small business community lasts like 60 to 90 days. And you can ask Sean from HighLevel that. He has seen the entire industry. He sees what everybody's doing, and he knows that it's like 60 to 90 days is the average customer if you're selling to small businesses. So I would personally, if you are just getting started in this business, I would advise against that route strongly. Okay. It's just, it's a tough, it's just a much less attractive business model. Okay. And look, there are guys in this industry that are very good at that. Okay. And there are guys in this industry who are out there telling you, you can make, you know, $5,000 with your first customer, $10,000 in your first month and all that stuff. And it's typically by doing something like that. It's paid ads to generate leads. And the reason why they can get you to those numbers quickly is because, yeah, paid ads can be very high volume, very fast. You can spend thousands of dollars on ads and get thousands of dollars more in revenue. So it can work that way, but you're having to spend thousands of dollars on ads and you're having to find customers that will pay you for those, that are reliable, that actually have follow-up processes to make sure that they're following up with those leads. Because if they don't, they're going to think your leads are junk and they're going to fire you. And then you're on a treadmill of just constantly trying to replace those customers. It's a big pain in the butt. And so the money looks attractive up front. And that's why it's pretty easy to sell you on this concept. And then it sucks in the long term. And again, you can ask Sean why HighLevel is HighLevel, why it is what it is today, is because when they got into the space, they started working with lead gen agencies. That was their first customers. Let's work with all these lead gen agencies. And then after a year of doing that, they were like, this sucks because all these lead gen agencies are only keeping their customers 60 days. And then they don't want to pay us, you know, for HighLevel anymore. And so that's when they realized, gosh, there's all these problems that small businesses are facing that aren't getting taken care of properly by these agencies. And it's causing problems for both of them. We need to give them the tools to help actually solve these problems using technology and create a stickier relationship. And that's how HighLevel became what it is today. It is a much, much, much better model to get the recurring monthly revenue where somebody's paying you for access to a system of tools and campaigns and resources versus doing lead gen. It just is. Okay. So that's a big answer, but it's the truth. Matthew, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. How can I help you?
Yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit because I'm switching niches right now, and it's been going well. I've been really doing a lot of outreach. It's going well because I love the customers the businesses that I'm looking out to. So I feel
That's
really
awesome.
genuine. Like, yeah, it feels good to support them. But I'm having trouble figuring out my core offer and figuring out exactly where to start the conversation. I have a lot of experience in Go HighLevel. I have already other customers that I'm doing profit share deals with. I know the ins and outs of the system pretty well. But as you know, it's kind of there's so much to offer that when I'm getting on the phone with these people, I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. I'm trying to dial in the pain points and figure out my approach right now, but the pressure is up because my previous job, they sold the company and my position is getting taken out. So I'm trying to figure out a realistic gameplay right now. I have all of my lead lists together. I have all my branding up and going. I have all
Awesome.
like, I know I'm in the right place, but I do need some help with like refining the exact offer and figuring out how to get my foot in the door.
Awesome. Cool. So it sounds like you've been having some success with some customers already.
Yeah, so I made a deal with a school, like a hypnosis training school 2 years ago, and I've been doing profit share with them. So like it averages about 12 to 1500 a month.
Okay.
The amount of clients that we bring in, I ended up doing a lot for them. It's been a rocky, yeah, it's been an interesting journey, but it's been steady and more than $1,000 a month on average with those guys. I spun out. I tried one of your services that scales approaches of doing like cheap websites with a subscription fee. I didn't end up liking that with the niche I was in because I was selling it to the students of the hypnosis school. So I thought it was genius. You know, like I create leads for the school, I get paid for the leads, then I sell to the students when they graduate. And it was going well, but then I realized that most of those people are not serious business people when they come out of that program. And so, you know, they lasted 4 or 5 months and yeah, then they mostly dropped out. I'm still selling websites to the students, but they're like 500, 600 bucks a pop. It's going with like a whole marketing system that it has been working well in the services at scale model. Like I've got my whole snapshot. I can really kick out a website in a couple of days. So that's been good. But I've been trying to get, you know, focus on what can I offer that's a higher monthly recurring revenue. And I put together a huge package. I'm focusing now on sustainable landscaping companies. I want to do like eco-friendly landscaping. I found a bunch of them. I put together a whole offer where I can really do a monthly newsletter. I can give them like the 3 ninja of the missed call auto text back, the Google reviews, and the chat bot. And then I was even setting up templates to make them brochures. And I thought I would do lead generation and be between, you know, 600 and 900 bucks a month. But I really, yeah, even at 600 bucks a month, I feel like these guys are hesitant, and because then there's ad spend on top of that. So for some of their projects, the math works. For some of it, it doesn't. I'm trying to trying to dial it in here. So
Okay. Let me see it. Let me see if I can help you. I think you're in a common spot that a lot of people get to. Okay. So let me start with a couple of foundational things about what I found works in the world of selling to small businesses. Okay. So just in general, selling to any small businesses, you have to make it what I call an access and automation, assets and automation instead of time and talent model.
right.
So anything that you're talking about doing, running ad campaigns for people, doing lead generation, stuff like that, unless they're paying you significantly more, then that's not a great model. And if they are paying you significantly more, there's a very high degree that they're not going to stick around, because small businesses just don't spend that much money consistently. They just don't. So I would tell you that you should get rid of any to start. And I'm not saying that you can't offer this ultimately at some point as part of your packages, but I would tell you to get rid of any expectation of I'm going to do lead generation for these people and stuff like that. Okay. So I would focus on creating the system that you're going to put in place for them that is reasonably priced, adds a ton of value, that they will then just stick in that system as long as they're in business, because it is a core part of how they will operate as a business. So as an example, you get somebody's website up and running. Like you said, the only reason that they're going to stop paying you for that is if they're just not serious business people and they're really not in business. I mean, otherwise, if you're going to be in business, you're going to have a website.
Yeah, of course.
Right. you're going to have, you got to have a way to people find you and get in contact with you and all that stuff. Or you're just literally just not really a serious business. So
Right.
there are these core tools and resources that any serious business is going to want to have. And so if you can get them in there using them and offer that at a reasonable price, the only reasons that they're going to cancel are, one, they go out of business, or two, some competitor comes along that's just got a much better set of tools and resources. But that's very hard to do. Switching cost, once you're on a system like this, is very, very difficult to get off, right? So if you look at, this is the way I teach this, is if you look at these core capabilities that every business needs to have, they need to have a way of building and protecting their reputation, and they need to have a way of maximizing the value of every customer. Like every small business has to have those things. There's no real business owner that can look you in the face and argue with those 2 points, right? Are there business owners that will look you in the face and argue with you about the value of advertising? Yes, absolutely, all day long. If you go talk to 100 business owners, small business owners, probably 75 of them are going to give you some line about, oh, advertising is a ripoff and I got scammed and blah, blah, and all this Facebook and pay-per-click crap. It's all just BS, right? Like, you're going to actually have arguments with small business owners about, does advertising work and is there value in it? But should you protect your reputation? Yeah. Should you sell and resell your prospects and customers as much as you can to make them loyal customers and keep coming back to you so that you can maximize the value of every customer? Yep. I mean, there's really no argument that anybody can make. And in fact, if they ever were arguing with you on those 2 points, that's a great red flag. Just go, awesome, thanks for your time, and turn around and walk away, right?
Okay.
Because it's nonsense. So that's a major point of what I'm hearing with you, actually, is that customer qualification. It sounds to me is like really important here. You need to raise your standards and be able to qualify people quickly as to whether or not they're worth spending any time with. And this goes for everybody on this call. You do not want to waste time with prospects that are jokers, right? I mean, if they're not serious business people, move on. Move on as fast as you can. Don't sit there and try and convince them. Don't sit there and try and convince them of the value of actually having a professional website that shows up properly in mobile searches. And I mean, if you really have to convince them of that stuff, just move on. Okay. So what I recommend that everybody does is that you put together a core base package that just includes as many of these capabilities as you are comfortable setting up, which should be almost all of them, because honestly, it's really easy, right? If you look at reputation, yeah, website UX, review management, like these are all things that it's like, hey, just get them on the platform with a website that's capturing leads, getting calls, collecting information into the CRM, giving them that conversation. I call it the universal inbox, but giving them that conversation feature. So now they're seeing all this interaction happening from all these various sources, and they're managing it all in one location. Now they're in there, like using the system. That's a very hard thing to get off of once you're in there using that system. And then you layer in some actual campaigns that you've built and designed for them. You put together some workflows that, hey, now look, Mr. Customer, every time somebody contacts you this way, we're doing a 7-step follow-up to try and get them into that next step in your sales process, to book the calendar for the landscaping job, to check out the reviews on your website, whatever it is. We're doing an automated 7-step follow-up process to make sure that every lead gets followed up with. So you build in a handful of those key campaigns. And it sounds like the thing that I like to hear from what you've been doing is that you've already worked with these couple of niches. You understand how, look, I can set up the same campaign for every player in this niche. It's just a snapshot. I'm just going to do some basic customization of it, but it's going to take you no time at all to set these things up and get them running. So you build that system for landscapers. You build out the website templates. You build out the follow-up campaigns specifically for landscapers. And then you go to the landscapers and you talk to them about their business problems. They all have very similar business problems. And you do this core package is and you could price it in this range depending on what you're comfortable with and kind of what you feel like is in the industry. But you include everything that I just showed you there. Just include all of it. Just say, we're going to set up all these amazing, badass things for you. And it's just $297 a month. And that includes all these credits for SMS and calls and emails. And you can have up to 3 team members on the team. And then if, your business is growing and you go beyond that, then you can upgrade to our $497 plan that includes, 3 to 10 and blah, blah, blah. So now you're just putting in all of that value up front, and it's just a super simple package because it's just, hey, I'm giving you everything that you need to accomplish these 2 critical things. That's it, right? Like, I'm not making you pick and choose and nickel and diming you on anything like that. It's just, I'm going to sell you the landscaping marketing system. This is the system that I've created that's got these proven campaigns. It's got all these assets and tools that you need that you're currently not taking advantage of at your business, all the automation, all this stuff, all included in this one system that I'll set up and have up and running for you 2 weeks from now. And it's $297 a month. And then, as we've been talking about on this call, you could have a setup fee on the front end of that to capture, some of your upfront, sales and marketing costs back. So you can do it $1,500, $2,500, depending again on your level of comfort on who you're selling to and kind of how the market responds to it. And that confidence will grow over time. But, I always recommend that everybody shows at a bare minimum like a $2,500 surge in setup fee. And then if you want to use that to negotiate and say, hey, look, we'll take $1,000 off of it. It's $1,500, but look, we're setting you up with a brand new website, these funnels, these campaigns, like we're going to do a lot of work for you. If they aren't willing to acknowledge that that's a lot of work and it has a lot of value and they should be paying for it, again, it's a red flag that you should probably then walk away from them. But I also teach on how to present that. So you give people 3 different options on how to pay for it so that it's a win-win no matter what, right? They either pay for it up front, and that's the cheapest scenario for them because they're paying for it all up front, or they pay for it over the course of time, and it's a little more expensive because you're essentially financing it for them and you're locking them into a longer-term agreement. But either way, you're good. So, but you always present that upfront fee so that you can maximize some upfront cash in the deal, right? Or use it as negotiating leverage. So this is essentially the structure that I recommend to almost everybody. And there, you can have some tweaks and some variables in there that, you can do based on the industry that you're selling to make it really like dialed in, but just sell that same damn thing. Sell it over and over and over again. You can learn what to lead with in your conversation. So if you're having a conversation with somebody and their website is awful, well, then you'll stress in the conversation, yeah, it's part of our complete system that we're going to set up for you. We're going to build you a new website, right? Or they actually have a decent website, but it's got no lead capture in it. It's got no call tracking. It's got no calendar, online calendar that people can book with. You can say, hey, look, you've actually got a lot of good things going here. I can tell you got good feedback in the marketplace, but you're missing these core capabilities. Our system's going to include all of those core capabilities and more, right? So you're going to tailor your conversation to the specific problems that they're having, but it's all still the same package. It's still the same offer, same package, same price point. You're doing the same setup essentially for everybody. So that way you're just selling one product and just make it very, very routine. You're not customizing this and that, you're about your offer. You're not throwing in different things based on, the conversations that you're having. That's when you start getting into a real mess of, you're getting caught in this like downward spiral of working with small businesses that can't really afford to pay you for all that customization, but you're doing it anyway. But you just want to go out and just sell the one damn thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. My next question is just how do I, like, if somebody has a really nice website, that's obviously a huge value add-on. Then am I adding on that I could make, like mimicry pages that are going to have the lead forms in them, or I'm going to throw my own lead forms in the middle of their websites, or, how do you position yourself? I mean, 90% of these people do have websites that look pretty decent.
And they're WordPress websites?
Not all of them, but I would say quite a few.
Most of them, right? I mean, most of the small business world is running on a WordPress website. So, you can easily integrate, your landing pages and things like that into WordPress using the Lead Connect feature of HighLevel. So that's like super easy. You can just say, yeah, absolutely. We'll just work with your existing website and we're going to build these lead capture funnels and stuff like that. And just, have those be a part of their website. And then, if they have a nice looking website, but it's not really a good marketing tool in terms of functionality, then that's exactly the kind of thing that you want to point out is, hey, look, you've got a great website, looks really nice. It's doing a good job of making you guys look good in the market, but it's missing these core marketing capabilities to really turn it into a productive part of your marketing process. As an example, there's no lead capture form here. As an example, you could have a web chat widget right here so that you can get real-time interaction with people. As an example, the phone number isn't call track. So those are all things that you can easily integrate into their existing WordPress site. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to give them a whole new website. In that case, just integrate those things onto their website. Those are just easy widgets that you're just dropping onto the site.
Yeah, nice. I see that. Okay, and just to get crystal clear on your aversion to lead generation, because obviously that's a huge conversation that's happening all over the place. I think that some of these businesses would benefit from specific ad campaigns, especially for like the higher profit margin things. Is that something that I just need to know my own ability to get results on, or I should play around with like a couple contractors without charging them for that to see if I can get some case studies, or what do you recommend? Because I think there is opportunity on the higher projects for sure.
So my recommendation is that you sell an advertising system instead of selling an advertising or lead generation service. So you're familiar with UPEX?
Yeah.
Okay. So what my conversation with these business owners would go something along the lines of this, right? We start talking about, hey, you need more leads. And they say, yeah, we need more leads. Almost every single one of these has either tried advertising themselves or they've worked with some other lead generation provider already and churned through them, probably several of them, and churned through them, right? And so my conversation would be, hey, have you used any service providers in the past or done any paid advertising to try and generate leads in the past? And their answer is yes or no. If their answer is no, I would not be trying to sell this to them as any part of my first sale, because you're trying to convince somebody to do something that they haven't done before. And again, if they're a business owner and they've never done any paid advertising, like I don't want to try and climb that mountain right now. I want to get the relationship with them. Maybe down the road we sell them on that. But if they say yes, and I say, great, are you consistently spending on paid advertising now, paid lead generation? Yes or no? And then ask them why, so yes, we are consistently. Oh, great. You have a service provider you're happy with? Yes or no? Finding those things out. If the answer is no, we're not consistently doing it, we've tried it in the past and stuff like that, that's probably going to be most of these people that you're talking to. My conversation will go something along the lines of this. What did you like or not like about that service? And they will probably say it was too expensive. The leads weren't high quality. I mean, that's the only reason why they would cancel, right? If they were working with lead generation, it's going to be kind of those two reasons. And then I would say, yeah, that's not uncommon. I hear that all the time. And let me explain to you why that typically is, okay? One is that most lead gen service providers are charging you for their time. And so that means that they have to charge you a big, management fee. And oftentimes that management fee is as big or bigger than your advertising budget. So if they're charging you $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,500 for management, and then you only have $500 to spend on advertising, all of that money is going for something that's not actually, getting you leads and getting you more visibility. So your money is just poorly spent, right?
Right.
So, or they're actually doing a decent job of generating leads for you, but you don't have all the follow-up systems in place to actually make the most of those leads. And so even if they're generating decent leads for you, it can seem like the leads are really low quality because you don't have all of the other marketing systems in place, right? So the way that we solve that, Mr. Prospect, is two things. One, as part of our foundational marketing system that I just discussed with you, we make sure you've got everything in place to capture those leads and follow up with those leads to give you the best chance of conversion. We're putting in all the automation, all the campaigns, all that type of stuff. So we're never going to leave any lead just dangling out there, right? And then the second thing is that what we do is we have an advertising system that we set up for you, but you are not paying us for our time to manage it. So what I mean by an advertising system is we have best practice ads, we have best practice landing pages, and best practice funnels to market your services, to capture and convert those leads. And now they're in your system where we have all of the follow-up campaigns in place. We'll put those ads, those funnels, those landing pages in place for you. And then that's just $297 a month, whatever it is, right? For that, all that system, we're gonna put all that system in place. And now you can just decide how much budget you want to go to it. And let's say it's $500 a month in ad budget or $1,000 a month in ad budget. 100% of that budget is now going to go towards advertising. 100% of it. So every dollar that you spend is going towards advertising. And what we have then is a regular review process where we're just looking at which ads and campaigns are working and not working to optimize and make sure that they're being successful for you. But now you're not paying us expensive ad management fees. And now you've got a complete marketing system that's capturing, doing all the follow-up, all that stuff that you need to make sure that these campaigns have the best chance of success. So that's the pitch that I would make. And so your advertising system, you're going to use like an UPEX. You're going to have a bunch of best practice ads, landing pages, all that stuff that you just put together in your snapshot. And you're just going to launch that for them and set those ads ready to go in their ad campaigns. And then they can just press go on the budget. And then you just have a review process. Like if you work with UPEX, it's a super smart system to be able to do auto optimization of the campaigns. You do that auto optimization, you run some reports for them, you check in with them once a month and say, hey, here's what's performing, here's what's not, here's what we did to tweak and tune them. But they're not paying you expensive ad management fees, and they're going to get a dramatically better ROI by working with you in that way. And you are not doing a time and talent service. You're just selling an additional system for recurring revenue every month. And it's just based on the assets that you've created. Does that make sense?
Yeah, same strategy then. You're setting up the assets instead of the labor.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. All right. Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed all of your content. And I'm checking in from Germany. So it's just a fun
time. Are you really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. I lived in Germany when I was a kid. My dad was in the army, so I was there a couple of times.
Oh, yeah? Whereabouts? Do you know?
Town called, it was a Baumholder, I think it's called. There's a army, a decent amount of U.S. Army there, and
there's a base pretty close to us in Garmisch that's in the mountains.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's cool.
All right,
yeah, awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You bet. Russell, how can I help you, sir?
Hey there, Mike. Are you able to hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So we talked last week, and you mentioned direct mail for reaching out to folks in the dental industry. I was hoping to see if there was maybe some resources you might be able to provide either for folks that do the list building or package design for the sorts of things you'll actually send out to them, and or fulfillment. So I'm looking into all three of those, and obviously there's a lot of things out there. So I just wanted to see what might be the best way to go.
Yeah, I know. I had it on my list of things to do to get you some resources. I have not found. I haven't found the name of the guy that I used to work with. Let me. What's the name of it?
Well, I mean, I can hang tight on that. So as long as you're looking into it, that's cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I will find it. I will find it.
Cool deal. All right. I had another question. So I've been doing Facebook advertising, and I think I mentioned this last time. I'm starting to get leads for way too cheap, and it's because there are a lot of patients rather than dentists. I'm advertising, the copy, everything looks good, but Facebook has not figured out how to find the dentist yet. And I'm afraid that I'm teaching Facebook to send me patients instead of dentists at this point. So I got to make some decisions about what to do with the ads. But I was wondering, in terms of the leads themselves, is there a good process whereby I could actually just call up dentist office, like reach out to the lead, find out what their zip code is, go pick a dentist office in the zip code and say, hey, I've got a lead for you. Can I give it to you? Can I sell it to you? Something like that. And then use that as a way of perhaps greasing the wheels to an actual, paid engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I used to do with like chiropractic lead generation. When I did that, is I would just start running my own ads to my own websites with my own lead capture. And then I would immediately go to a chiropractor and say, hey, I'm generating leads, new patient leads already in your market. And I'm looking for somebody to give them to. I'm willing to, work with you for 2 weeks, as a free trial or something like that, just to show you that, I'm legitimate. Like, just start generating leads and just do that and do that reach out.
Well, you were doing that purposefully in volume. I'm saying that these leads are coming to me. I've paid for them, but they're useless to me unless I can get them to somebody else that they are useful to. And so what I was thinking is just reaching out to them and saying, either selling them onesies, twosies, or just give them away. Here's a lead. Let me show you what you should kind of do with that lead once you got them. But then if you'd like for us to actually focus on your market and get more leads rolling in for you, here's what we can do. And by leads, we're going to be setting appointments. But for right now, I'm just going to hand them the lead if that's what they want to do.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's good. I think reaching out to them is literally, in that case, so just like a matter of reaching out to them. Like it's probably not like a super efficient way to do it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not a huge ton of leads. So if I'm just thinking that if I tell them, hey, I've got somebody who's looking for a dental implant and I was wondering if you could help them, I'm going to probably get through the right person a whole lot sooner than I'm trying to sell you marketing services.
Yeah.
So cutting through the gatekeeper and stuff like that, I think would be easier. So I was just trying to make, lemonade out of lemons with these leads that are coming in right now.
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
Cool.
I was going to show you real quick too. So I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but Dope Marketing. Are you familiar with Dope Marketing?
Nope.
These guys are awesome. The founder of the company, awesome guy, very involved in the HighLevel community. They integrate directly with HighLevel, and they have amazing list and direct mail capability. It's actually it's pretty unbelievable the level of granular targeting that they can do. And they can send one piece at a time. They can send bazillions of pieces. It's really pretty unbelievable what you can do with them.
What's that website?
It's Dope Marketing. Hold on. Dopemarketing.com.
Good enough. Okay.
Really.
And so
really
I see they're talking about postcards here, but would you recommend something a little more substantial?
They both have value. I mean, postcards are awesome because you can do, they're just so stinking cheap. And if you design a good postcard, it doesn't have to be opened. It just shows up right there. So you have to have the right strategy, but these guys are really good with postcards. These guys generate millions and millions of dollars in local services for businesses with postcards. So they really know what they're doing. So, I like having a mix of both, but there's no reason not to start. And these guys do more than postcards. They will do, custom stuff for you as well.
Okay. And do they work on putting together those packages, or when you say custom stuff?
They'll help you design this is what the mailer should be. And here's all the things that go in it. And
Yeah. Cool. Okay, definitely. I will look at them, and you said they would be able to do both generating the list, generating the package, and even sending out the package as well, whether it's postcards or something else.
They'll do everything. And one of the things I'm most impressed with actually is their list capability, because lists are all important in direct mail.
Yeah,
and they have some really, really awesome technology and integration with a bunch of various databases out there. They can get you incredible list data.
Okay. And then that's something you said they integrate with HighLevel. So I assume that list you could bring into HighLevel as well. So you could do marketing through HighLevel as well as the direct mail.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. You always want to follow it up with emails and phone calls and things like that if you can, for sure.
Yep. Cool deal. Awesome. Cool. I'll take a look. Thanks so much.
Awesome. You bet. Thank you for your patience on that. I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. Hey, my internet went down earlier today. I was like hanging out in the parking lot for a while trying
Oh,
to see if I could get on, and now I found out the internet was back up, so I was able to get back home and
Awesome.
hang out. So cool deal.
Awesome. Good to see you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Everybody, I do have to run. We've been here for 2 hours. I got to get going. Alex, I want to answer this one. Is it better to have $297 a month and sell more, or focus on $497 a month and have less? So, I mean, the reality is that between $297 and $497 a month, if you're selling like the package that I showed you, that kind of, we're putting everything into that base package. The difference in selling between $297 and $497 a month at those price points is probably more of you as a salesperson than it is on the difference in those price points. Like, for the value you're providing, you could get $297, $397, $497 and not have your percentages of sales conversion change that much. So if you're a good salesperson and you know how to nail your presentation, all that type of stuff, and you want to sell at $497, you will probably sell just about as many customers at $497 as you would at $297. Okay. So, if, more money is better, right? More margin is better. So if you can, awesome. And there's no problem with selling at $497. And if you want to discount, to get some deals and stuff like that, you have that extra margin in there to do that. Not a bad situation, right? And UPEX, I think we clarified in this, it's UPEX. Yeah, UPEX. And I am an affiliate of UPEX. Just so you know, if you use my link to sign up for UPEX, you get my ad templates and things like that. So if that's helpful for you, you can go right there, servicesthatscale.com/UPEX, and check it out. UPEX and HighLevel are essentially the two systems that I recommend all day long. It's a really nice system, works really well. So you should definitely check it out, and I have no hesitation in recommending them for sure. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you being a part of the community. I appreciate you joining me on these calls and spending your time with me. I hope it was valuable time for you, and that you got some good takeaways, and enjoy the rest of your week. Let's get out there and get after it. For Moguls members, and actually for everybody, we've got a new boot camp coming up later on this month, later on here in March. It's going to be mid-March, where I'm going to walk you through how to design this whole service delivery system and make it as automated as possible and all that good stuff using HighLevel. And I've got some exciting developments around that to share with you. So keep your eyes peeled on your inbox here over the next couple of weeks. I will be getting word out about that to you. I'm very excited about it. We're going to be doing some cool stuff to help you guys. So keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we'll see you at the boot camp. And otherwise, please post in the community if there's anything I can do to help you. And I will see you on the next office hours call. All right. Get out there and get after it. Build your business. Have a great rest of your week. Take care.